Sarah worked at one of the most expensive restaurants in the city. It was called Royal Bites. The place was always filled with rich people, businessmen, celebrities, and politicians. Everyone who worked there wore neat uniforms and big smiles. The floors were shiny, the lights were bright, and the plates were always spotless. But Sarah didn't care much about the beauty of the place. She only cared about the little salary she received every month. That money helped her pay for the one-room apartment she stayed in and bought her food for the week. She had no family. Her parents died in a fire when she was 10 years old, and she grew up in an orphanage. Life taught her to be strong, even when things were hard. Still, Sarah never allowed pain to steal her kindness. Even when she had nothing, she shared the little she had. It was a very hot afternoon when it all happened. Sarah stood behind the counter, cleaning glass cups and arranging cutlery. The restaurant was quiet. There were no customers at that moment. Her boss, Mr. Harris, sat at his desk in the manager's office. Suddenly, the glass door opened and a man stepped in. Sarah looked up and gasped. The man looked dirty. His shirt was torn in 3 places. His jeans were old and faded. His face was covered with dust, and his hair was uncombed. He had no shoes on, just dusty feet and cracked heels. He walked slowly, as if every step was heavy. Sarah's heart dropped. She had seen many poor people in her life, but this man looked different. He didn't beg or shout. He didn't even look around. He just stood near the entrance, weak, tired, and silent. Mr. Harris, who had seen the man through the glass window of his office, came out angrily. "What is this man doing here?" he shouted. Sarah quickly stepped forward. "Sir, please, maybe he's hungry. Let me talk to him." Mr. Harris hissed, "Sarah, this is not a charity center. We serve high-class people here. Tell him to leave before he chases customers away." "But there are no customers right now," Sarah said calmly. "Let me just give him a little food." "With whose money?" her boss barked. "You think we cook for animals here? Don't try me today, Sarah." Sarah ignored his anger and walked up to the man. "Sir," she said softly, "are you okay?" The man looked at her with tired eyes. His voice was weak. "I've not eaten in 2 days. Please, I don't have money, but I'm very hungry. If you can help me, I will never forget it." Sarah bit her lip. She looked back and saw her boss staring like a lion ready to pounce. But her heart could not turn away from the man. "Please wait," she said. She went into the kitchen, opened one of the food trays, and dished a generous plate of jollof rice with chicken. She poured a cold bottle of water and placed everything on a tray. She walked back to the man, smiling. "Here, you can sit at that corner and eat. Please don't worry about the money." The man's eyes widened. "You mean, you're giving me this for free? Just like that?" Sarah nodded. "Yes. Please eat. You need strength." Tears filled the man's eyes as he took the tray. "Thank you," he whispered. "God bless you." He went quietly to a corner and sat down to eat. Mr. Harris stormed out. "Sarah, what did I just see? You gave our food to that mad-looking man." Sarah turned to face him. He was hungry. I couldn't turn him away. "Then go and feed him with your own salary," he shouted. "Better still, go and join him outside because you're fired." Sarah froze. "Sir, don't beg me," he barked. "Take your things and leave this restaurant now, before I call security." The poor man looked up, confused and sad. He tried to speak, but Mr. Harris pointed at him too. "And you, leave. I don't care where you go, but don't ever come back here again." Sarah stood still for a second. Her hands shook. She had just lost her job, her only source of income. All because she gave a hungry man food. She walked to the back room, picked up her small handbag, and came outside. The sun was even hotter now. She sat on the step beside the restaurant building, looking down at her shoes. She had just 1,000 naira left in her purse. She didn't know what to do or where to go next. Her dream of saving enough money to start a small food stall was now far away. How would she even pay her house rent next month? The door opened again, and the poor man came out with the empty plate in his hand. He looked at her. "You're still here?" he asked. Sarah forced a weak smile. "Yes." "I thought you'd go home." "I don't even know where to go," she replied. "I've just been sacked." He sat beside her on the concrete step. "Because of me?" Sarah nodded. "I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't mean to cause you trouble." No, don't be sorry, she said. You didn't force me. I helped you because I wanted to. I don't regret it. He looked at her for a long time. You're kind. Very kind. I haven't met someone like you in a long time. Thanks, she said quietly. Sarah didn't sleep that night. She lay on her thin mattress in her tiny one-room apartment, staring at the cracked ceiling. Her heart was too heavy. The words her boss shouted at her kept ringing in her ears. You're fired. Get out. She had only 1,000 naira left. Her rent was due in 2 weeks. There was no food in the house except for 1 sachet of gari and a few spoons of sugar. Her body was tired, but her mind would not rest. By morning, her eyes were red and her stomach empty. She sat on the edge of her bed, holding her small purse and thinking. What should I do? She whispered to herself. She stood up slowly and wore a clean dress. It was the only decent one she had left. I must try, she said. Maybe he will forgive me. She left her room and walked straight to the restaurant, the same Royal Bites where she had been sacked the day before. As she walked closer, her heart beat faster. She wanted to turn back, but her hunger and rent pushed her forward. She stood outside the restaurant door for a moment. She took a deep breath and pushed the door open. The sound made Mr. Harris look up. His face changed the moment he saw her. You again? He snapped. Did I not tell you never to come back here? Please, sir, Sarah said quickly, her voice shaking. I'm very sorry. I know I disobeyed you yesterday, but I was only trying to help someone. I've learnt my lesson. Please forgive me. Mr. Harris scoffed and leaned back in his chair. So you came here to beg? Yes, sir, she said softly. I really need the job. I don't have any money. My rent is due soon, and I haven't eaten since yesterday. He shook his head slowly. So you want me to just forget what you did? Gave our food to a mad-looking homeless man like the restaurant is your personal kitchen? Sarah lowered her head. I'm sorry, sir. Please, it won't happen again. I promise. Mr. Harris smiled coldly. Sarah, he said in a quiet voice, you really want this job back? She nodded quickly. Yes, sir. I'm ready to do anything. Just give me one more chance. He folded his arms. Anything? Yes, sir. He smiled again, but this time his eyes were different. They looked dirty. Okay, he said, you know I've been asking you for something for a long time. Just give me that thing for one night, and I'll give you your job back. In fact, I'll pay you extra. Sarah blinked. I don't understand, sir. He stepped closer. Don't pretend. Just one night with me, and everything will be fine. No one will know. Sarah took a step back. Sir, that's wrong. You're a married man. And so, he replied, my wife is not here. She doesn't need to know. Sir, she said slowly, her voice now angry, I came here because I'm hungry, not because I'm cheap. I thought you were going to help me. Not this, he laughed. Help you? After what you did? You think I'll just forgive and forget? You made me look like a fool in my own restaurant. I didn't make you look like anything, she snapped. I did what was right. He stepped forward again. This is your last chance. Give me what I want, or forget about your salary. Sarah stared at him in shock. What do you mean forget about my salary? I worked for it. He waved his hand. I used your salary to pay for the food you gave that dirty mad man. That's your punishment. Sir, that's wickedness, she cried. You can't do that. I earned that money. He smiled wickedly. Then do what I said, and I'll return your money. Just one night, and we're good. Sarah felt her chest burning with anger. Never, she shouted, you dirty, foolish, married man. I will never give myself to you. Not for money, not for anything. You're disgusting. Mr. Harris's face turned red. How dare you talk to me like that? You think I'm like those girls you use and dump? You think because I'm poor, I'll sleep with you for money, she shouted. You're lucky I even looked at you, he barked. Do you even take good baths? You smell like the street you came from. God will judge you, she said, her eyes full of tears. You call yourself a manager, but you have no respect, no shame. You want to take advantage of me just because I'm poor. He walked to the door and pulled it open. Get out of my restaurant and never come back. I'm already going, she said, walking past him. But remember, one day you'll answer for the way you treat people. Dirty girl that I was even trying to manage, he muttered. See her mouth. You should be thanking me. Sarah walked out into the sun, her body shaking. She walked until she reached the small bench outside a closed shop. She sat down, her tears finally falling. Everything was gone, her job, her salary, her dignity attacked. And all because she gave food to a stranger. She stayed there for a long time, thinking. The sun rose higher, her stomach growled. She hugged herself and cried softly. Suddenly, a shadow fell on her. She looked up. It was the homeless man from the day before. He stood there quietly, holding something wrapped in a black nylon bag. "You're still sitting here?" he asked. She wiped her eyes. "I went to beg my boss." "What did he say?" "He insulted me, called me names, said he used my salary to pay for your food. He even said I should sleep with him if I want my money back." The man looked shocked. "He said that?" She nodded. "I refused. I'd rather sleep hungry than lose my self-respect." The man sat beside her. "You're a strong woman." "I don't feel strong," she said with a weak smile. He handed her the black nylon bag. "Here, eat." She opened it. It was rice and stew, still warm. "Where did you get this?" she asked. He smiled. "I have my ways." She thanked him and started eating. As she ate, he watched her quietly. "You know," he said after a while, "the world needs more people like you." She looked up. "Why?" "Because most people walk past the hungry. Most people think helping is a waste of time, but you gave me food, and today you lost everything for it." She smiled sadly. "It's okay. I did what I felt was right." He nodded. "Good. Because it's not the end." She finished eating and leaned back. "Thank you for the food." "You're welcome," he said. Sarah could not sleep again that night. Her eyes were tired, her body weak, but her heart carried too much pain. She kept thinking about what happened with Mr. Harris, his dirty offer, his insults, his wickedness. She kept hearing his voice in her head, mocking her, calling her a poor dirty girl that even a bath could not fix. She wanted to forget it all, but it was stuck in her heart like a thorn. The next morning, Sarah woke up feeling worse. She had no job, no money, and no food left in her room. The rice the homeless man gave her yesterday was the only thing she ate, and it was now gone. As she sat on her bed, she thought about where to go. Then her mind went to Lillian, her neighbor who lived in the next room on the same compound. Lillian had always been there for her in tough times. They had laughed together, shared food, cried during hard days, and sometimes sat outside to talk about life. Sarah stood up slowly and walked to Lillian's door. She knocked twice. "Who's there?" "It's me, Sarah." "Come in, the door is open." Sarah entered and saw Lillian sitting on her small bed, painting her nails. Her room was brighter and neater than Sarah's. She always had good perfume, nice hair, and fashionable clothes. "Hey, babe," Lillian said. "You look like someone that saw a ghost. What's wrong again?" Sarah sat, too tired to answer immediately. "I was sacked," she finally said. Lillian looked up sharply. "What? Sacked? What did you do this time?" Sarah explained everything. She told Lillian about the homeless man who walked into the restaurant looking tired and hungry. She told her how she gave him food even though he had no money. She told her how Mr. Harris got angry and fired her on the spot. "That's not all," Sarah said. "I went back the next morning to beg him. He said I should sleep with him if I want my job or my salary back." Lillian's eyes widened. "Jesus Christ." "I refused," Sarah said softly. "He insulted me and pushed me out. I cried. I sat outside for hours." "So what happened then?" Lillian asked, crossing her arms. "The homeless man came again. He brought me food. He said I'm kind and strong. He asked me to trust him and follow him somewhere today. I don't even know why I agreed, but—" Lillian stood up and threw her hands in the air. "Sarah, you are very foolish. Extremely foolish. How can you collect food from a dirty homeless man? Are you mad?" Sarah looked shocked. "But I was hungry." "So you opened your mouth and ate food from the hands of a beggar? Do you know where he got it from? Do you know if it's safe? What if it was from the dustbin?" "He looked clean yesterday," Sarah said. "I don't think he meant harm." Lillian hissed loudly. "You are so dirty. You think everyone is good. One day you will collect sickness and you will be unalived." Lillian softened a bit. "Why didn't you come to me, Sarah? You know I have food. I would have given you something. You chose to collect food from the street instead of knocking on my door. I was tired, Sarah said, tired of begging, tired of always running to you for help. I felt useless. Lillian sighed and sat back on her bed. She looked at Sarah for a long time before speaking. This is exactly why I told you to join me in my line of business, Lillian said. But you refused. I keep telling you there's money in it, and you keep saying no. Sarah looked up slowly. I told you before, I can never do that. Lillian raised her eyebrow. And what are you doing now? Crying, walking around broke and hungry? What do you gain by suffering when money is out there waiting? I will not sell my body for money, Sarah said firmly. Even if I starve, I will never become like you. Lillian frowned. And what's wrong with what I do? I don't steal. I don't beg. I don't wait for men to pity me. I get paid for my beauty and time. I live in the same compound as you, but my life is better. Why? Because I made a choice. You're busy chasing morals, but hunger is chasing you. Sarah shook her head. Maybe your choice works for you, but not for me. I still believe in dignity. I still believe in working hard and being kind. Even if the world mocks me, I won't change. Lillian hissed again. I think you are madly in love with poverty. You're a good girl with an empty stomach. Good luck with that. Sarah stood up slowly. Thank you for listening. Where are you going? I don't know. Sarah turned to the door. Thank you. Even when we fight, I know you care, but please respect my decision. I don't want to become something I'll hate when I look in the mirror. Lillian looked away. Suit yourself. Just don't come back crying again. I'm tired of wiping your tears. I understand, Sarah said, then walked out quietly. The next day, Sarah went out again to look for a job. She walked from place to place, knocking on doors, asking people if they needed help. Some ignored her, some said they weren't hiring, others told her to leave her number and come back next week. Nothing worked. She was tired and hungry, her legs hurt, and her shoes were getting worse. By evening, she gave up. She wanted to get home early, take a shower and rest. The only problem was the normal road home was long, and she was already feeling weak. There was a shortcut, the old road behind some uncompleted buildings. People always warned it was dangerous, but it was the fastest way. Sarah stood for a moment at the corner and looked around. I'll walk fast, she said to herself, and entered the old path. The road was dusty and quiet. She held her purse tight and walked quickly. As she passed one of the uncompleted buildings, she saw someone standing outside. She stopped. The person turned and looked at her. It was him, the homeless man. They both looked surprised. You? Sarah said. He stepped closer. Sarah, what are you doing here? She asked. This is where I sleep, he replied. Sarah frowned. Number, you can't be serious. I stay inside this building. It's not much, but it's all I have. She looked at the empty structure. It had no doors, no windows, no bed, nothing. You sleep inside this place? Yes. No, you can't stay here. This place is dangerous. What if something happens to you at night? He smiled lightly. It's not the first time. I've stayed here for a while. Sarah shook her head. You shouldn't be here. Please come with me. Come to my house and manage my small space with me. He looked surprised. No. You've done enough already. I can't bother you again. You're not bothering me. I live alone. I have space. It's not much, but it's safer than here. I'm fine, really. She stepped closer. Please don't say no. I can't go home knowing you're sleeping in a place like this. He looked at her and stayed quiet. Don't let pride stop you. Let me help you the little way I can. He sighed. All right, if you insist. I do. They walked together. Neither of them said much on the way. When they got to her compound, she opened the door to her one-room apartment and stepped aside for him to enter. This is my space, she said. It's not much, but it's better than outside. He looked around and nodded. Thank you. After a few seconds of silence, he turned to her and asked, Why are you helping me? Aren't you scared of a homeless man like me? Sarah looked at him. No, I'm not scared. But you don't know me, he said. I could be dangerous. I could steal from you or hurt you. If you were that kind of person, she replied, you would have done something by now. He looked down. Still, most people don't even want to sit near me, talk less of inviting me to their home. I'm not most people, she said, and I know how it feels to have nothing. I've slept hungry, I've begged for help. I've cried alone in the dark. I won't walk past someone who needs help, not when I have a little space to share. He nodded slowly. You're different. I just believe kindness still matters, Sarah said. He looked at her again. You're risking a lot for someone you barely know. She shrugged. Maybe. But it's a risk I'm willing to take. There was silence again. Then he said softly, Thank you, Sarah, for everything. You are welcome, she replied. 2 days later, Sarah came back home from job hunting. She was tired, dusty, and hungry. As she opened the gate to the compound, she saw her neighbor Lillian standing outside with a frown on her face. Sarah greeted her. Good evening, Lillian. Lillian didn't respond. She just stared at her with an angry face. Sarah paused. What's wrong? Why are you angry? Lillian folded her arms. I never knew you were this low, Sarah. Sarah looked confused. What are you talking about? I went to your room minutes ago to look for you. Your door wasn't locked. I opened it and saw a dirty man lying on your floor. Sarah's heart dropped. She stepped closer. Please don't call him dirty. He is my friend. He's homeless. I'm only helping him for now. Lillian laughed mockingly. Your friend? Is that what you call it now? So you now share your room with a homeless man? That's what your life has become? Sarah sighed. Lillian, you don't understand. I understand perfectly, Lillian snapped. You don't have food, you don't have a job, you don't have anything. And now you've added a jobless, smelly man to your struggle. Is this your plan for the future? Sarah shook her head. You don't know what he's been through. And you do? Lillian shouted. So you now trust street men you just met? You don't fear for your life? Sarah looked her in the eye. He has never tried to harm me. In fact, he helped me when I had nothing to eat. He brought me food when I couldn't afford any. Lillian clapped her hands slowly. Wow, a homeless man gave you food. How touching. So romantic. Maybe you should marry him next. Sarah turned to go inside, but Lillian followed her. I'm talking to you, Sarah. Don't walk away from me. I'm tired, Lillian, Sarah said. I've walked all day in this heat looking for work. I didn't find any. I don't have the strength to argue with you. You should have joined me a long time ago, Lillian said. You think you're better than me, but you're suffering. At least I have money. I don't sleep beside beggars. Sarah stopped at her door and turned to her. I may not have money, but I have peace. I don't trade my body for cash, and I don't look down on people just because they're poor. Lillian hissed loudly. Keep deceiving yourself. When hunger finishes, you and that your new friend, don't come to my door. Sarah opened her door. David was sitting on the floor, reading an old magazine he had picked from the trash. He looked up as she entered. Is everything okay? He asked softly. She forced a smile. Don't worry, just neighbor drama. He nodded. I heard her shouting. Sarah sat down. It's nothing. She's just angry that I brought you here. He looked down. Maybe I should go. No, she said quickly. You're not going anywhere. But I'm causing trouble between you and your neighbor. I don't care what she says. I care about doing what's right. If I leave you to sleep in that uncompleted building again, I'll never forgive myself. He looked at her for a long time. You have a good heart, Sarah. She smiled weakly. I hope so. The next morning, Sarah was sitting on the floor folding her wrapper when the man looked at her and said, You've never asked me my name. She looked up and smiled. That's true. I actually forgot. He nodded slowly. My name is Samuel, she said. Nice name. I'm an orphan, lost both parents when I was just a little boy. Life has been hard. She looked at him with pity. I'm sorry. He waved his hand like it didn't matter. Then he looked at her again and said, Are you not job hunting today? She shook her head slowly. I'm tired. Tired of walking around, tired of rejection, tired of being insulted. Some men even told me to sleep with them first before they can give me a job. I can't do that. Samuel looked at her for a while and said, Sarah, you deserve better. You're a good woman. She sat closer. Thanks, but sometimes it feels like being good brings nothing but pain. Samuel looked at her directly. I like you, Sarah. I really like you. You're kind, humble, and brave. She was silent for a moment, then smiled. I like you too. He laughed and added playfully, Don't look at my dressing now. If you see me normally, I'm a fine man, ooh, very handsome. You'll even fall for me at first sight. She laughed out loud. I know, you're right. I'm not going to lie. You're handsome. Samuel smiled. So now that we both like each other, maybe we should make a deal. She raised her eyebrow. What kind of deal? He said, I want you to go somewhere today. Go to your old workplace. The restaurant. She frowned. Why? There's something waiting for you there, he said. She looked at him suspiciously. How do you know? He smiled. Just go. Trust me. Are you a prophet now? She asked. Maybe, he replied with a grin. She shook her head. You're beginning to scare me. Are you even human? Are you a ghost? He laughed. No, Sarah, I'm not a ghost. Just go. You will see. She looked at him for a moment. If I go there and nothing happens, I'll come back and laugh at you the whole day. He raised his two hands. Deal. She stood up, wore her cleanest dress, and left the house. She walked all the way to the restaurant since she didn't have any transport money. On the way, her heart was beating fast. She wasn't sure what she was expecting, but something about the way Samuel spoke gave her hope. When she reached Royal Bites restaurant, she stood outside the glass door for a few seconds. Everything looked the same. She entered slowly. A friendly-looking woman stood at the reception. Good afternoon, Ma, Sarah greeted. The woman looked up and smiled. Good afternoon. How can I help you? Sarah stepped forward nervously. My name is Sarah. I used to work here, but I was sacked some days ago. I just came because, well, someone told me to. The woman looked at her face for a moment. You're Sarah. Sarah nodded. Yes. The woman smiled brighter. You're the one we've been waiting for. Sarah looked confused. Me? The woman nodded again. Yes. 2 days ago, the company was bought by a new owner. He left instructions with our head office that you should be given the position of manager in this branch. Sarah gasped. What? Yes, the woman replied. The new boss said you must be treated with full respect and that you can resume work tomorrow morning. Sarah's mouth opened wide. Are you being serious, Ma? Very serious, the woman said. Congratulations. Sarah screamed in shock and excitement. Jesus, thank you, God. She was shaking with joy. She held her chest and kept asking again. Me? Manager? Yes, the woman said again. You're highly recommended. The boss said you're honest, kind, and hard-working. Sarah couldn't stop smiling. You are to resume tomorrow if you're ready. Sarah looked confused. Sorry, Ma, please can I ask? What's the name of the new boss? The woman shook her head. I don't know. We haven't met him yet. He sent everything through the office and gave very strict instructions. We just know he's the new owner, and we are to obey. Sarah stood frozen for a few seconds. You're sure about this? The woman nodded. Yes. Welcome back, Madam Manager. Sarah almost cried. She held her chest and whispered, Oh my God, oh my God. She thanked the woman again and rushed out of the restaurant. She didn't walk home. She ran. When she got to her compound, she pushed the door open and entered. Samuel was sitting on the floor reading the same old magazine. He looked up and smiled. Welcome. Sarah dropped her bag and stood in front of him. Samuel, you said something would happen today. He nodded. Yes. The restaurant has a new owner. I know. They offered me the position of manager. Good, he said calmly. You deserve it. But they said they don't even know the name of the owner yet. Everything was sent through the head office. Just then there was a knock on the door. Sarah stood up to open it. It was the landlord. He looked angry. He didn't greet. He just looked around the room and folded his hands. So it's true, he said. I heard it with my own ears. You're now living with a mad homeless man. Sarah took a deep breath. He is not mad, sir. The landlord looked at Samuel and hissed. You're even defending him. That's your business. All I know is that your rent has increased. Sarah looked shocked. Sir, why? Because you've turned my house into a shelter for mad people. If you can't pay the new rent, you pack out. Sarah stepped forward. Please give me time. He shook his head. No time. You better pay my money before next tomorrow or you're out. But sir, I'm not here for stories. This is your final warning. He turned and walked away. Sarah closed the door slowly and sat down, her head in her hands. Samuel looked at her quietly. "I'm sorry," she said. "I brought you here and now look at what's happening." He shook his head. "Don't be sorry. Everything will be fine." She looked up at him. "How? I don't even have the new rent." And he said next tomorrow. He smiled. "Don't worry. Let's take one step at a time." The next morning, Sarah got ready and went to work. Her first week as manager was going well. The staff respected her and the customers were happy. Every day she worked hard and made sure everything ran smoothly. She still didn't know how she got the job or who the new owner was. A week later, the landlord came back, this time with 2 men. He knocked loudly. Sarah opened the door. "Where's my money?" he shouted. "Sir, I'm begging you. I haven't been paid yet. I just started work. I gave you extra days already. You think I'm joking? You must leave today." "Please, sir," she said. "We don't have anywhere to go." "That's not my business," the landlord said. "Pack your things, now." Sarah walked back into the room with tears in her eyes. She picked her small bag and some clothes. Samuel stood up quietly. "Are you ready?" he asked. "I don't even know where to go," she whispered. "We'll go to my place," he said. She looked up slowly. "Your place?" "Yes," he said. "Follow me." They walked down the street. She was tired, confused, and quiet. Samuel stopped in front of a black car parked by the junction. A driver stepped out and opened the door. Sarah froze. "Whose car is this?" she asked. Samuel said, "Ours." They got in. The car drove through the city, past several big buildings, and turned into a private road with security. Sarah was still silent. The car stopped in front of a big white mansion with flowers and expensive cars outside. Sarah looked at the house, confused. "Samuel, where are we?" He smiled. "Home." She turned quickly to look at him. "Home?" He stepped out and helped her out of the car. "Come with me," he said. They entered the mansion. The living room was huge, with gold curtains, white sofas, and bright lights. 2 workers greeted them at the door. Sarah was shaking. "Samuel, please talk to me. What is this?" He turned to her and said gently, "This is my house. I'm not a homeless man. I own Royal Bites and several other businesses." Sarah stepped back in shock. "You? But why? Why were you dressed like that?" "I was looking for someone real. I was tired of fake love. I dressed like a poor man to see how people would treat me. Everyone looked down on me, even my own workers. But you gave me food. You defended me. You brought me into your home. You treated me like a human being. That's why I gave you the manager position." Sarah sat down slowly, covering her mouth. "I don't believe this." "It's the truth," Samuel said. "You passed the test. You proved that there are still good people in this world." Tears rolled down Sarah's cheeks. "I thought I was helping you. I didn't know you were the one who would change my life." He knelt in front of her. "Sarah, I love you. I've loved you since that day you gave me food. I just needed to be sure you loved me for who I am, not what I have." She looked at him and smiled through her tears. "I love you, Samuel. Whether rich or poor, I loved you already." He hugged her tightly. "Welcome home, darling." Meanwhile, Lillian became sick. At first she thought it was normal pain, but after 1 week it got worse. She went to the hospital. After many tests, the doctor looked at her seriously and said, "You have a serious kidney problem. You need an urgent transplant or you will not survive." Lillian was shocked. She held her chest and started crying. She asked the doctor how much it would cost. The doctor gave her a paper. The amount was millions. She almost collapsed. She picked up her phone and started calling everyone she knew. She called her old boyfriends. None of them picked. She called one sugar daddy. He blocked her. Another one said he had traveled. All the men who once praised her beauty now ignored her. She cried all night. She remembered Sarah. The same Sarah she once mocked. The same Sarah she insulted for helping a homeless man. With tears in her eyes, she called her. "Hello, Sarah, please. I know I don't deserve your help, but I'm dying. I have kidney failure. No one is helping me. All the men I trusted are gone. Please forgive me. Help me. I don't want to die." Sarah was quiet for some seconds. Then she said, "Lillian, I've already forgiven you. I'll send you the money." Lillian broke down crying. "Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, thank you, thank you." Sarah hung up and called her personal assistant. She instructed her to send money to the hospital immediately. The surgery was done the next morning. It was successful. Lillian was saved. 1 week later, something beautiful happened. Sarah and Samuel got married. The wedding was grand. The next day, their pictures were everywhere. Newspapers, blogs, TV stations. Sarah was now known as the waitress who married her homeless customer. But those who knew the real story called it something better. They called it a lesson, a reminder that kindness always comes back. They moved into a bigger mansion outside the city. Sarah started a charity foundation to help homeless people and poor girls looking for jobs. Lillian also changed. She joined Sarah's team and told other girls, "Don't depend on men. Work hard, respect people, be kind." Sarah and Samuel lived happily ever after. They had 2 children and continued to help people silently. Sarah never forgot where she came from. She never became proud. She told everyone, treat everyone with respect. The person you help today might be your helper tomorrow. And so the story ended not with just a wedding, but with a powerful message. Love is not about money. Kindness is not weakness. And good people still exist. Dear viewers, what lessons did you take away from this dramatic tale? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, share it with friends, and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest updates. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.